Welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm Kathleen Walter. With us now on the phone from Washington is Chris Chocola, president of the Club for Growth. And Chris, good to have you here with us again on Newsmax TV.
It's great to be with you, Kathleen. Thanks.
Well, first, Senators Ted Cruz and Mike Lee are leading the charge in the Senate to defund Obamacare through upcoming spending bills, notably the continuing resolution, which continues to fund the government. They argue that it's the last chance to stop the law. How do you view this push?
Well, we're big cheerleaders of their efforts. We think that it is, an important stand to make. I mean, after all, every single member of the Republicans in Congress, House and Senate, all ran on defunding or repealing Obamacare or both. The American people, over 50%, have never supported Obamacare. The unions have come out against Obamacare. The president said it's not time to implement it. The IRS has created an atmosphere where no one trusts them to enforce it. So, it seems like a logical thing to do. Let's defund it. Let's stop it, because nobody really wants it. And so we think it's an important stand to make, and it's the leverage point the Republicans ought to use.
Mm-hmm. And this Cruz-Lee movement in the Senate has caused quite a schism in the GOP. Karl Rove, Grover Norquist, and others have said it's unrealistic. They say it could damage the party if it leads to a government shutdown. What's your response here?
Well, I guess the only example they can point to is when the Republicans shut down the government in '95. So the '96 election, what happened? They maintained control of the House. They picked up seats in the Senate. They got welfare reform, and they got a balanced budget. So it doesn't sound all that risky to me. And so, so I went to negotiation school, and the only things I remember are, don't cave before you show up, and don't show up if you're not willing to walk away. So, if they say there's no way we can win this fight, and we'll just blame ourselves if we do it, well, yeah, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy that's hard to overcome. But most of the Americans are on their side, and so it's unfortunate they don't get ahead of the message. They don't support what they said they would do. And in the end, all this is, and all we're trying to do at the Club for Growth, is get Republicans to simply do what they say they're for. They asked to be elected and to have control of the House because they said they were against Obamacare, and they would seize every opportunity to get rid of it. This is the opportunity, and we just think they ought to do what they said they would do.
Chris, some Republicans say there's a better shot at reaching the end goal of repeal if the law were just delayed a year. Why not go with this approach?
Well, the problem is what leverage point will they use, and what have Republicans done to give us confidence they'll use it? And so there was some discussions yesterday at the Republican Study Committee that maybe they should use the debt ceiling and use that in exchange for defunding Obamacare for a year. If that was really a proposal that they would stand firm on, it might be worth thinking about, and it might be worth supporting. But so I have members of Congress call me and say, you guys are being unreasonable. I say, well, if this is unreasonable, just tell me what you'll do. Just tell me what the thing is that we should be for, and maybe we'll be for that. And so the Republican leadership hasn't been able to articulate what that thing is. There is no rank-and-file member I can find that knows what that thing is. If that's the thing, and they're willing to really fight to the mat on that, then, it's worth talking about, and maybe it's the thing we should all support.
Mm-hmm. In the House, there's a plan put forth by Representatives Eric Cantor and Pete Sessions, which would have the House passing a continuing resolution to fund the government at its current levels into December, a bill that the Senate could pass, but pairing it with a resolution that would force the Senate to take a separate vote on defunding Obamacare. Critics say that this plan would actually make it easy for the House to vote for defunding Obamacare while ultimately ensuring that Obamacare is still able to get funded. What do you think about this?
Well, that's exactly what it would do. It's nothing more than legislative deception, and it's running and ducking for cover. So what it would do is every Republican member of the House would vote for this CR that would defund Obamacare, knowing that what it in fact does is result in a clean continuing resolution that funds Obamacare. And so that's part of the problem of the Republicans, is that they think that they can engage in trickery and that's living up to their commitments. And I got criticized the other day, well, why don't you beat up on the Democrats? My point is none of them ran on defunding Obamacare. Every Republican did. So if a Democrat ran on it, they should be held accountable too. But it's the Republicans that said they do it. This is a moment they can do it, and they've already conceded defeat before they even started. But if there's something good that can come out of it, like the discussion we just had, but they have to put that on the table and be convincing that that's what they're willing to fight for, and that there will be consequences for not achieving it. Because when you go into a negotiation and you tell President Obama, really, we're going to guarantee you there's no consequence for you not agreeing with us, it's a pretty tough point to negotiate from.
Chris, last question for you. The Club for Growth has a history of targeting Republicans deemed not conservative enough by backing primary challengers in elections. Can we expect the Club for Growth to respond in this manner should Republicans in the House or Senate vote in a way that would lead to the continued funding of Obamacare?
Well, we'll see what the final vote is, but as it stands now, we'll likely score the vote. And we don't let any single vote kind of dictate our actions. We look at the totality of their careers and a pattern of behavior. And so this will be a vote that goes into our scorecard that will result in a total score. And so we, like to see people have high scores, which means that they consistently support a pro-economic growth agenda. And so this will be part of that, but will not be all of that.
All right, Club for Growth President Chris Chocola, thanks so much for being with us today.
Great. Thank you, Kathleen.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.